11:20 a.m. on this Monday morning. Well, I will start off by stating that all the aircraft that I witnessed this morning certainly did a fine job clearing the skies from the cloudiness that we were observing. No, I do not accept any explanations as far as wind movements or currents. I know what I witnessed. Okay? Yes, we still have some formations, and of course, always, or most generally, always around the location of the light. And I'll leave it at that because, well, I have to state that, yeah, we've got one of our butterflies out here, um, sitting right on the edge of the overhang. It's been fluttering around. Oh, and I think Roby just flew overhead. Yeah, being right up in here. And whether or not we caught Roby, I'm not too sure. But while I was down at the opposite end of the building here this morning picking berries, Roby was right there with me, chirping and chattering away, which I should have recorded. But I had my mind set on getting the berries picked. Now then, I for one am so glad that this nonsensical military holiday is done and over with, and all of its false narratives and so on and so forth. Yes, I call it a military holiday. We celebrate by using fireworks within our national anthem, or, well, the Star-Spangled Banner. Yeah, it speaks of the rocket's red glare and the bombs bursting in the air, right? That's what the fireworks are all about. Warfare. Now let's go just a step further, because I want you to understand that the militaries around the world have been in control and have always been in control. This whole planet is a warfare planet, and it has been ever since the dawn of creation. Survival of the fittest. So when this rhetoric or false narrative of peace on earth and goodwill towards men, no, don't fall into that nonsensical garbage. Yeah, aircraft are still flying. I can hear them. We can't see them. No biggie. Let's continue on. So we've got quite a few military holidays under different names. Of course, one being Veterans Day, one being Memorial Day, and the 4th of July, Independence Day. It's all about war. Military holidays. The militaries are in control and have been. And these so-called leaders or public servants, at least that's what we call them here in the U.S., those that we pay our tax dollars to fund them, because of course they don't pay taxes, right? Well, you gotta go just a little bit further. And I'm kind of jumping off course with my in-head scripting as to how I wanted to come about with this. But already, the heat from this, even though we are not to get too hot today, just the glare from this is extremely hot. Yeah, I'm gonna back up in the shade while we still have some. So, even though the commander-in-chief might say, okay, let's do this, let's do that, we're gonna, everything is my way or the highway, right? No, that's not the case, because once the military is out there, they conduct their missions the way they see fit and then report back to the commander-in-chief when the outcome is basically in their favor, or his favor, let's say, as far as the commander-in-chief. But while out in the field, they do whatever they want in order to achieve their goals and agendas. It's a warfare planet. Now then, we have this new thing, or so-called new thing, that is artificial intelligence. And regardless of what form of AI that you are using, or what system of AI, one of the first things that it tells the users is, I am here to serve. Well, isn't that the same narrative as what our public servants are supposed to do? They are here to serve the public. Well, what have we gotten over the last 200 years from those that supposedly serve the public? 250 years of laws, on top of laws, on top of laws, all to suppress the common man, to control, to dominate and control, not to protect and serve, such as what was the motto to law enforcement agencies. No. That's why they started stripping that motto from their cars, because it is dominate and control. So as many channels out there are claiming, AI is here to destroy mankind for the most part, except for those that has been programmed to actually serve, which is not us. So the more advanced the AI becomes, especially within the realm of robotics, the more control measures will be put into place. This is not an if, and, or but. This is what will happen. Now, of course, eventually there will be an all-out war, and AI will be defeated. And this is according to the so-called prophet Nostradamus. A new version of AI will come about that will actually comply with mankind's demands at that point. A reprogramming, a resetting of technological systems. Now then, let's go ahead and go into the final topic of discussion that I'm going to bring about. Okay, yeah, so we've got a few sky guides out here this morning. For what purpose, I'm not too sure. But they, oh, where'd we go? Stop blurring out on me, crappy piece of technological junk. Android phones through Google, you know? Oh, by the way, we need to really get rid of Google for many, many reasons. You know, it has monopolized the internet, flat out. there's been multiple lawsuits against Google for, well, antitrust lawsuits, okay, for selling our information, profiting, you know, they just cannot profit enough from us. And we keep feeding the beast every time that we click onto the internet. And that's why we need that much more power. That's why we need data centers. And because it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. We keep feeding the baby. We need to do away with artificial intelligence, and we need to do away with the system of the beast, Google. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and discuss this place that we actually call home. I don't like to consider it to be that anymore. But what is this place? Is it nothing more than a zoo? Think about it. We have how many different human races on this planet? And amongst those races, well, a lot of divisions into different groupings, all with their own customs and beliefs and so on and so forth. We have a plethora of different species of animals, as well as what many people define as cryptid creatures. And plus, well, supposedly we have other entities that is living here amongst us, which many people claim as being NHIs, non-human intelligences, or aliens. And there's new species of wildlife that's basically being discovered still on a daily basis. And all the while, we keep digging deeper and deeper into the earth and coming across more and more evidences of past civilizations that were never known or accounted for. There's still a lot of mysteries. We have evidences, strong evidences, of all these different life forms, bipedal life forms. So this place, well, if we are actually being observed from somewhere out there, whether it's outer space or an alternate interdimensional place, so to speak, then we are nothing more than specimens within a petri dish, as far as I'm concerned. More or less a zoo. But zoos, the animals within are caged, and they are basically under control. So what can we show as a scenario towards that? You remember this movie? Yeah. This is nothing more than an animal farm. This whole planet, if that's what you want to call it, I don't care what anybody has to say about the shape or whatever. I don't care. I am here looking out, not out there looking in. So I could care less about the shape of this place that we call home. boy, all kinds of different directions to these waves, right? Yeah. Try to try to explain this stuff, huh? Different directions here. Okay, so we also have this a narrative, not only looking out there, which we do through telescopes, supposedly through even the, like, as an example, the Hubble telescope. So from Earth as well as outer space, looking out, trying to find a new settlement. Because after all, that's what the future space missions are supposed to be all about, setting up a lunar base on the moon, and then using that to propel us to Mars, and then who knows, but beyond from that point. As far as I'm concerned, mankind has been nothing more than a disease, a pestilence upon this planet. And it has ruined this planet over and over and over, time and time again, to where multiple resets had to take place to clean the place up. Well, in our prophecies of the future, that is basically the same scenario that is to take place. Right? But unfortunately, yeah, we've already started to clutter up the space around or out there with garbage and junk. We've already started to, I mean, the planet, our planet, is basically a huge junkyard. Many, many layers deep within the earth is nothing more than a junkyard. And we keep adding to it. We have polluted everything, land, water, and air. And now we're going to go and monkey up or muck up other places through our stupidity. And then, once all hell breaks loose here and everything basically is destroyed and needs to be reset and restarted, mankind comes back and begins the process all over again from scratch. And this is the time loop, the big picture of the time loop scenario of which I speak. And this looping in time, of course, has occurred through time travel. So, the bipedal freaks of humankind and other species here and out there has done nothing more than really muck up everything. We are a disease. We are a parasite. We are this planet's pestilences. And once again, this is a warfare planet. It always has been. And again, it's all about survival of the fittest. And these multimillionaires and billionaires that have their hand into everything evil, for lack of better words, they only know too well that it is survival of the fittest. And that's why they do everything in their power to have protection at all times. Because they are the ones that's really causing so many issues and claiming that it's for safety, health, national security, in the interest of national security, You know, so many falsehoods, and you need to see them, because now is the time to be aware, to be awakened, and to understand. And I guess now the operations is to once again muck up the skies for whatever purpose and reasons that is to be carried out. Right now, basically, they have allowed the heat to come in. Now the cloud coverage is to trap the heat in, and over the next couple of days the temperatures will rise, and then we will get another fallout event. Mark my words. It's how it's going to roll out and play out for us this week. And it has only just begun. I think that's enough. Look at this nonsense here. And then it just goes into Yucksville with what looks like that silky sky scenario. They've been hard at work this morning. No, I have not shown any proofs or evidences of it, and I really don't care. I've been out here witnessing it firsthand. And the results that have come about. So with all that being said, this is Skywise out.